Let's bring in Chris Johnson, Senior Vice President of FM Global, one of the world's largest commercial property insurers. Mr. Johnson oversees engineering, research and development and enterprise learning for the organization. He joins us now from Providence, Rhode Island, where the governor there, Sir Lincoln Chafee, has declared a state of emergency as well. Before we get to some of this data, how are things in Rhode Island?
Well, so far calm. If you were to look outside, it looks like a lovely afternoon. But we should be very vigilant and very prepared. This is a major storm heading up the East Coast, so people are taking it very, very seriously and preparing.
As they should. According to data compiled by Bloomberg, some 65 million people, or about 1 in 5 Americans from North Carolina to Maine, may be in the way of Irene. You believe the storm demonstrates how unprepared we are for a severe weather event of this magnitude. How so, and what will the impact be for homeowners and for business owners?
Well, I think the impact is going to be extremely serious. Obviously, we're still waiting to see how the storm develops. But you look at the infrastructure, the airports, the energy systems, the roads, the railways, some of the older housing stock we have in the Northeast. All of it is going to be severely tested, either by heavy rain, heavy wind, or a combination.
Mr. Johnson, there are some estimates that the damage from Hurricane Irene could cost in the neighborhood of $10 billion. Are those estimates correct?
Those who make the estimates, it's always extremely hard because you don't know the exact path or the intensity of the hurricane. I would be very, very surprised if we got off as lightly as 10 billion. If you look at the track the storm's taking, the percentage of our population, our business, our housing stock that's going to be in the path of the storm. You contrast that with Katrina, that on its own had an economic impact of 108 billion. I think we'd do very well if we got off with 10 billion.
Mr. Johnson, how disruptive will Irene be to supply chains along the East Coast?
Well, as you know, we have many of the ports along the East Coast. We have the airports, we have a lot of the telecommunication system, manufacturing, banking sector. I can well see supply chains being impacted. How long they're impacted, obviously, will depend upon how strong the storm is, whether we see predominantly wind, whether we see predominantly flooding and rain. But there will certainly be an impact to supply chains, no question.
Mr. Johnson, in an economy that's as weak as the one we're experiencing now, how much worse is this going to make things?
Tough to predict, but certainly the insurance industry had a very tough first half of the year in terms of natural catastrophes. And this can only add to the challenges.
Chris Johnson, he is the Senior Vice President of FM Global, one of the world's largest commercial property insurers, joining us from Providence, Rhode Island. Mr. Johnson, thanks for your time today. We appreciate it.